The best question which he had, we must ask the present generation what it wants. We are basically, when we are planning for our future, we are planning for their future. You ask them, they will obviously, as we also wanted once upon a time, none of us, as he challenged us, we know the problems, but none of us would be ready to go and live in the villages. Under CSIR, we are also supposed to do something called a TechVille program, for which I am the in charge, and went to some villages, made some visits, went very enthusiastically. But when I encountered the real life situations, I think I would confess, we can't live there. We know urbanization has created maximum number of problems. We are flawed in our developmental notions. Many of us probably don't know what is the real definition of development, because even USA is struggling what is the real definition. They have Human Development Index, education, health, literacy, and all that doesn't serve the purpose. Finally, they quantify something and find out if you plot GDP versus Human Development Index, it plateaus after some time. It rises, human development rises, and then in some countries in Nigeria, it comes down also. So whether we have the fundamental question, we have the real justified notions of development. The live example is Delhi city only. Professor Gosain already told you, all the best, they are at the peak of development. Everything is digitized. That can be the best expected of a city. And you know where the maximum number of problems lie. So is development really getting us somewhere? The other point is, the natural way of in terms of ecological engineering, the basic concept was the waste, air, water, and land. The waste from one sector gets recycled, becomes a resource for the other sector. Then it recycles in the most beautiful way, and that is known as biogeochemical cycle. Just by having these rules, regulations, guidelines, we are only preserving sectoral environment. The most fundamental issue in environment, the predator-prey relationship, we are all forgetting. It's a food chain. Now, if you really ideally look at biogeochemical cycle, we are free to do whatever we want. And we have to decide whether we want money. We have already equated. Ecology is equal to economy. So, whether we should really decide whether we want economy, then we have to pay the ecological price. If we want ecology, then we have to pay the economic price. There is I think there is nothing to be debated. And both are equivalent. We have said only it's a question of normalization, what normalization factor you put. So I think I had a lot of slides, but I know most of that is covered. And there is a concept called industrial ecology, which has to be followed. Easier said than done. The waste of one industry, if it becomes a resource for the other industry, then we have solved all problem. But it will only remain in paper. It really cannot materialize. We can never reach a zero discharge solution, as much as my understanding of ecological engineering tells me. We have to make a compromise. In which sector, in which city we want economy to be above ecology, we have a preference for economics. And what are the sectors we should have preference for ecology? And ultimately, the panacea for environmental problems in land use management. And we know Bombay city is a developed city and all, but all that is developed is on mangroves. And all the laws which are stipulated today, we are being asked to follow, must have been violated. Then only the Bombay has come up. So you have violated millions times. You want to follow it 2-3 times. That's the state of. I think I will just put this. Rest of it is known.